Coach, tough series against Ferris State on the road. You guys travel back for a home and home with St. Thomas this weekend. Looking at Saturday, a nice regroup from this team. What did they do well on Saturday that maybe you were missing on Friday?
I mean, there's a timeliness, I think, to some things. I thought we were a little more determined on the offensive side. Uh, you know, I thought Noah West was outstanding on Friday. He made some game changer stops. But what that did, it made us go a little bit more rogue than I think I've seen us. Whether that was, you know, I wouldn't say panic's probably not the right word, but whether that was tired, there's just a lot of factors that go into it when you're behind and chasing a little bit, which that's why you're always dying to play for the front because it makes the other team put a little more panic to their game. And Saturday, coming out of the first 2-2 was the big piece. And then I thought just our guys moving forward, scored and rebound goals. It had been a little bit perimeter, even though that rink, a lot of things happens fast. So the response was good. Shuffled the deck a little bit with guys playing with some guys to get some, different attitude towards what's going on out there. But we're excited to be home.
Looking at some of the guys' numbers throughout the month of January, at the top of the list is Josh Grohl. What can you say about the way that his game has developed this year and playing on that top line?
Yeah, Growler's game just, I think, physically for himself as a human being, like he's a kind of a machine. He's extremely conditioned. He's strong. He's such a good skater that his tiredness doesn't really, creep into his game. But yet he might lead our team in hits a lot of nights out of just his physicality and determined play. So he can obviously play with elite sticks and be around the top line setting and power play setting, but there's probably more so of a two-way game that I think he caused a lot of turnovers. He creates a lot of turnovers, and he's able to turn those into quality transition looks for himself. And him shooting the puck's always a good sign for us.
Switch the lines up quite a bit on Saturday to try to maybe inject some scoring into the lineup. Did you like what you saw in terms of the lines? Is that something that are there any groups of three that you really liked?
Yeah, I think as a coach you get into twos. You get into, okay, this pair, can we find a third? And if I find a third, am I actually taking a single away from a pair that needs them? So there's a little give and take. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that we shuffled it up a little bit. It's probably to my own fault. There's times I think we get a little bit of a groove going where I probably don't as much as some people would like me to at times, but it's also the continuity part about I can trust you, and there's a reason why we don't give up a lot too, because there's enough balance in our group. But we got to be mindful about making sure we've got scoring punch going together too. Offensive guys like to play with offensive guys.
Hey, Kevin's on the call. Kevin Dudley, you can go.
Hey, Luke. Just curious with St. Thomas, obviously tough start to the season for them, but it seems like since the break they've been playing a lot better. What areas of improvement have you seen from them, and what challenges do you feel like they pose this weekend?
I don't know if they were so far off. I mean, for me, along the way, I know they maybe didn't get in the right column as far as the wins go, but their game hasn't been a big separating factor. They're probably hockey's funky. You get some timing that whether they're injury and guys like a little bit in and out of their lineup, or then when you get their whole group back, they're dangerous because they get up and go. They're offensively gifted. They might have a little bit of lean towards the offensive side, and but they're finishers. Those kids they've done a good job. 2 years in a row now. You've seen the top of their lineup and their line chart score big goals for them, which is a credit to them, and they've had good goaltending. So if there's maybe something, maybe they haven't found that consistency, but it's not ability, because there's plenty of stick in hockey player on their team.
Saw Caden Bolson get on the score sheet Saturday. I know he's a guy who was dealing with an injury early in the season. How big of an impact do you feel like he can make now going down the stretch here in this second half, fully healthy.
Yeah, Boley's kind of maybe to where you put Bolst in the lineup. Um, if I close my eyes and watch him as a pro, he's probably a middle to bottom six pro that plays hard, heavy over the puck, extended minutes, can extend plays because of his size and skills. Then you get him here, and you're like, okay, let's see how much more we can push him through that group where he settled in on Saturday. Him and Luigi and Courage did an outstanding job because they were. I just tell bolstering the game, like you're playing with a lot of intent and going to the net and being a shooter and being a hard nosed, hard skilled guy, and that's the guy. So I think is his addition to playing the right way and doing those things. That's the biggest part, but the bonus is him getting on the score sheet because he's a big man that can impact a game.
Yeah, Kevin.
On a just in terms of being back in front of your home bands and on a Friday night after you had those two goalless games, how important is getting off to a quick start going to be Friday? Do you feel like it's a situation where if you can get up and maybe get a few early, that that could really set the tone for this weekend?
I mean, I would always take that scoring first mentality. It's such a big factor in hockey in so many ways to not have to chase the game. But yeah, a Friday ago when we were at home, we were able to get out in front of Tech early, and it's an uncomfortable place to play for an opponent. So that part is important. As you go through the ebb and flow, like I think it stinks that we got shut out, and I think it stinks it was back-to-back games. All of those things. We just want to make sure that when they happen, we fix them, and now we got to move forward. Because if we're going to get caught on, a week ago, back to back, it's just too far away from the present. So I hopefully come out and just be a really heavy shooting mentality and a little bit of a nasty to our game just to be back at home.
Anything else, Kevin? I'll go one more. Just talking about the mindset of the team when you're on the bench during the game. You're at a point in the season now where these guys know their game pretty well within the course of the season. When they're coming off after a less than ideal shift, is it for you something where you're addressing things right away, or are you more kind of letting guys work it out amongst themselves when they make a mistake?
There's probably both. I think there's some guys you can really coach publicly and get after in front of the group. Some of the guys you are more of a whisper. And a lot of times when someone's on the bench and they're on the ice rather, and the conversation on the bench with the next group of guys is like, we got to get Joey back on track when he gets back here to the bench. But you want to get to a place, I think, as a coach where you've done your coaching and you're teaching, and now they're coaching one another, and we're cheerleading the backside of this thing so they're in a really good space mentally. But you want to make sure that your guys can do both, and our practices are hard, very hard. I know that's you want to make that iron that iron sharpen iron, so the game time's a little bit easier. And there's been a little more scrappiness and scruffiness and scrumminess in our practices that tell me we're a little bit frustrated with the not scoring part. So I like that they're working some things out together because they need to be problem solvers.
These last 8 games, obviously, you're looking at a playoff mentality essentially from the team. So how much is it, we need to get these guys up and ready to play from that mentality, or is it just, they should know at this point and kind of keep it even keeled?
I think guys know, but a lot of guys haven't been asked to sit in the seat that they sit on the bus until this part of their career. I mean, even though there's some older guys here, they haven't just been older guys have been on the first line. They're older guys have seen some experience with what they've had happen. But I'm most impressed that our guys can take on a challenge and fix some things. And like I said, when we went off script and kind of splintered away from how we play and do things as a team. That was a little bit troublesome, and but we're figuring those moments out. But it is playoff time, and it's our job to make sure we're trying to play the best hockey here down the stretch for a lot of meaningful moments here in Maverick hockey.
Thank you.
You bet.